PC podcast Thibine. When eyes can believe. 4 bizarre cases that left everyone baffled. Picture this. You are a father, and you push open a bathroom door in your stepdaughter's apartment. What you see inside is something that will never ever leave you. Your stepdaughter's body is lying there in the bathtub. She was supposed to start her new job that morning. She had her whole life ahead of her. Now she is gone. Or imagine this. You are a detective in London, and you break into an apartment because one of your intelligence officers hasn't shown up to work in a week. Inside the bathroom, you find a gym bag. It is padlocked shut from the outside. You open it up, and there is a body inside. A grown man, curled up, locked in this bag. How does that even happen? Or think about this. You are a mother in Buffalo, New York, and your daughter goes to meet a client one night. She never comes home. Days later, they find her body in a drainage ditch. You know exactly where she went and who she was with, but somehow, no one ever gets charged. With this one, you are a student at a high school in Israel, and you need to use the bathroom during class. You push on a stall door, but it is locked. You peek underneath and see your classmate's shoes, but there is something else too. Red liquid spreading across the floor. When they finally get the door open, they find a 13-year-old girl who has been brutally murdered in the middle of the school day. Law enforcement sees a lot of weird stuff. I mean, if you are a homicide detective, you've walked into crime scenes that would make most people lose their minds. You develop this thick skin over the years. You learn to compartmentalize, to focus on the evidence and not the emotion. But every once in a while, there is a case that just stops you in your tracks. Cases where nothing makes sense, where the evidence points in every direction and no direction at all, where you finish the investigation and you are left with more questions than answers. Today we re-diving into 4 of those cases. 4 investigations where reality seemed to defy comprehension, where experienced investigators stood there thinking, what the hell am I looking at? These are the stories that haunted detectives for years, that left families without closure, and that remind us that truth really can be stranger than fiction. Part 1. The bathtub. So let's start with that first scene I described. The 18th of August, 2005, Austin, Texas. A man named Jim Sedgwick and his wife Sharon are driving to the Orange Tree condominiums. They really worried. They were looking for Sharon's daughter, Jennifer Cave, and she hasn't been heard from in 2 days now. Jennifer had gone out with friends on the 16th of August. It was supposed to be just a normal night out, you know, nothing special. But she never came home, and that is not like Jennifer. She is responsible. She stays in touch. So by the 18th, Jim and Sharon are freaking out. They get to Jennifer's apartment and start knocking on the door. Nothing, no answer. They knock again. Still nothing. Finally, they okay, we going in. So they just open the door and walk in, and immediately they can tell something's wrong. The apartment is trashed, I mean completely torn apart, stuff everywhere. Drawers pulled out. It looks like someone went through the place in a rage. Jim and Sharon are calling out Jennifer's name, walking through this mess, and then they get to the bathroom. Jim pushes the door open, and what he sees, I can even imagine. In the bathtub, there is a body. Not just any body, his stepdaughter, Sharon's daughter Jennifer. She is just lying there, lifeless. This is the girl who had called them a few days ago, so excited about her new job. And now this, the horror of finding your own child like that. I mean, there are no words for that, right? That image is burned into Jim's mind forever, for Sharon too. This is the moment that changes everything. So let's back up and talk about who Jennifer was. Jennifer Ray Cave was born and raised in Texas. She came from a big family. She was one of 5 daughters, and Jennifer was smart, like really smart. She excelled at everything, school, extracurriculars, you name it. She was just one of those people who was good at pretty much anything she tried. When Jennifer was young, her parents, Sharon and Charles, got divorced. Her mom eventually remarried this guy named Jim Sedgwick. And you know what? Jim wasn't just going through the motions as a stepdad. He genuinely loved all of Sharon's kids like they were his own. And Jennifer loved him too. They had a great relationship. Jennifer went to Mary Carroll High School in Corpus Christi and graduated in 2002. Then she enrolled at Texas State University to study finance. She loved finance, but the university thing, not so much. After one semester, she was like, You know what? This is tea for me. So she dropped out, got a job at a restaurant in Austin, and enrolled in Austin Community College instead. So basically, Jennifer's your typical college student. She is working part-time, taking classes, going to parties on the weekends. She is young, she is having fun, but she is also responsible about it. She is not out there being reckless or anything. Fast forward to 2005. Jennifer's done with her finance courses. She is ready to start her career, and right before everything goes horribly wrong, she gets this job offer. A position as a legal assistant at a law firm in Austin. She is over the moon about it. She calls everyone, her parents, her friends, and she is like, I got the job. I start the 17th of August. One of the people she tells is this guy named Colton Aaron Pietniak. Colton's also studying finance at the University of Texas. And here's the thing about Colton. He used to be brilliant, like straight. A student got a scholarship to UT, the whole deal. But when he got to college, something changed. He got into drugs. Bad. He became addicted to substances, and it spiraled quickly. He got convicted for possession of illegal stuff and sleeping pills. He went to rehab, but it didn't stick. And get this. He only got 20 days in prison for all of this. 20 days. He also had a girlfriend at the time named Laura Hall. She was a UT student too, but they'd broken up before any of this happened with Jennifer. Now, Jennifer and Colton were friends. Good friends. They probably met at one of the many parties they both went to, but, and this is important, they were not romantically involved, like, at all. Colton had his girlfriend. Jennifer had someone in her life. They were just friends who liked to hang out and have a good time. So here is what happened on the night of the 16th of August. Jennifer's at home, getting ready for bed, super excited about starting her new job the next morning. And then Colton calls. He is like, hey, I heard about your new job. Let's go celebrate. Come out for drinks. Jennifer really doesn't want to. She is thinking, I don't want to show up hungover on my first day. But it has been a while since she and Colton hung out, and she thinks, okay, one drink. Just to catch up with a friend. They meet up downtown Austin at this bar on 6th Street. They order some drinks, they re-chatting, and then Colton just starts pounding drinks, one after another. He gets completely wasted in no time. What was supposed to be a quick celebratory drink turns into a nightmare because Colton has zero control over his drinking. They were sitting there for hours. Jennifer is getting more and more frustrated. She is thinking about her job in the morning. Finally, she has had enough. She basically drags Colton out of his seat and helps him all the way back to his apartment. I mean, props to Jennifer for not just leaving him there on the street. Because honestly, he kind of deserved it for ruining her night like that. They get back to Colton's place, which, by the way, is at the Orange Tree condominiums, the same complex where Jennifer lives. Small world, right? Jennifer helps him inside, gets him through the door. She's just trying to be a good friend, make sure he doesn't choke on his own vomit or something, and that is where everything goes horribly, terribly wrong. At some point that night, Colton shoots Jennifer with a gun. The details are murky, but what we know is that a bullet went through her chest, killing her instantly. And this is where it gets even worse. Colton mutilates her body. I am not going to go into all the details, but the brutality of it shocked even seasoned homicide detectives. This wasn't just a killing. This was rage. This was violence beyond comprehension. So the morning of the 17th of August comes. Jennifer's supposed to show up for her first day at the law firm. She doesn't show. The law firm calls her mom Sharon, asking where she is. Sharon's shocked. Jennifer was so excited about this job. There's no way she'd just skip her first day. Sharon tries calling Jennifer. No answer. She calls Jennifer's friends. One of them says they think Jennifer was with Colton the night before, so Sharon calls Colton. And Colton's response, I don't know where Jennifer is. Leave me alone. And he hangs up. Now Sharon knows something seriously wrong. She and Jim decide to report Jennifer missing. But here is the thing. The police don't really do much at first. It hasn't even been a full day, and they not taking it seriously enough. So Jim and Sharon take matters into their own hands. That is when they go to Jennifer's apartment on the 18th of August and find her body in the bathtub. The police investigation kicks into high gear. They check Colton's phone records since he was the last person to see Jennifer. They go to his apartment, but he is not there. His apartment is also trashed, with drug paraphernalia everywhere. And Colton, he has fled, gone vanished. Turns out, his ex-girlfriend Laura Hall helped him. They drove to Mexico together trying to escape. But eventually, Mexican authorities and us law enforcement track him down and bring him back to Texas. The trial reveals just how disturbing this whole thing was. The evidence shows that Colton killed Jennifer at his apartment. The prosecution argues it was drug-fueled rage. Some people think there might have been sexual violence involved. The mutilation of her body suggests someone who was completely out of their mind, disconnected from reality and empathy. In 2007, a jury finds Colton guilty. He gets 55 years in prison. Laura Hall gets convicted too for helping him flee and for tampering with evidence. She tried to help him dispose of Jennifer's body. She served time and got released on parole in 2018 with a GPS monitor and strict conditions. But here is the thing that haunts everyone. Why? Why did Colton kill Jennifer? They were friends. There is no clear motive. Did something happen that night that set him off? Was it some kind of rejection? Was there jealousy we don't know about? We may never know, because the only person who could tell us exactly what happened is Jennifer, and she is gone. Colton claims he doesn't remember anything from that night because of the drugs and alcohol. Whether that is true or just a convenient excuse, who knows? Jennifer Cave was 21 years old. She had just gotten her dream job. She was about to start the next chapter of her life. Instead, her life ended in brutal violence at the hands of someone she trusted. Someone she considered a friend. For Jim and Sharon, the pain never goes away. Jim will carry the image of what he saw in that bathroom forever. Sharon lost her daughter in the most horrific way imaginable. And despite the conviction, despite Colton being in prison, they still don't have a real answer to the question of why. Part 2, the vanishing, all right. So let us move to Buffalo, New York. This is the story of Amanda Wisnewski. Amanda, or as everyone called her, just Amanda, was born and raised in Buffalo. She went to Niagara Wheatfield High School, and get this, she was crowned Miss Teen Buffalo at one point. She was into everything, dancing, swimming, acrobatics. She had all these different interests and talents. Amanda had big dreams too. She wanted to be a police officer. She wanted to change the world. She was bright, beautiful, strong. She was on the right path. She even got her diploma from this program called BOCES, Board of Cooperative Educational Services, to become a police officer. Everything was lining up for her, but then, as they say, you are the company you keep, and according to Amanda's mom Leslie, Amanda met some really questionable people around this time, and that is when she fell into the dark world of addiction. Leslie describes it like Amanda got sucked into this black hole she couldn't escape from. Amanda told her mom once that it felt like the devil was chasing her, and that is such a powerful way to describe addiction, right? It is like you are running from something you can see, and no matter how hard you try to get away, you can still feel it breathing down your neck, getting closer and heavier. Watching Amanda go from this ambitious 18-year-old with dreams of being a police officer to someone trapped in substance abuse. It was devastating for everyone who loved her. But Amanda was a fighter. She tried to get clean. Leslie took her to clinics, got her help. Money was tight, but Leslie was there for her daughter every step of the way. But recovery is hard. Amanda tried so many times to break free, but it just wasn't working out. Eventually, she got to a point where she had to resort to adult work to pay for her addiction. She de-engaged in physical relations with people, and they de-pay her with drugs. It was this vicious cycle that just kept feeding itself. Through all of this, Amanda got involved with this manager guy named Adam Patterson. And when you looked at them together, Adam looked old enough to be Amanda's father. But he wasn't her father, he was her manager. Amanda even lived with him on the Tuscarora Reservation in Lewiston. Basically, Adam knew all the people who had what Amanda needed. They had the drugs, Amanda had what they wanted. So Adam would arrange these meetings and drive Amanda to people's houses where these transactions would happen. Despite everything going on, Amanda was still trying to keep some normalcy in her life. She worked at this bar called Cocktail Bob S. She even enrolled in Niagara County Community College, taking criminal justice courses. Some part of her was still holding on to that dream of being a police officer. The 5th of December, 2008. Amanda is working her shift at Cocktail Bob as when she gets a call from Adam. He says he just got off the phone with a guy who goes by Justice, Amanda's next client. Now, here's what Amanda might not have known. This Justice guy was bad news, really bad news. People who knew him described him as a scary giant. He was only 22, but he was built like a tank, and he had a violent criminal history. His real name wasn't even Justice. He was Antoine Garner, and he had a reputation on Buffalo, East Side, that should been a red flag to everyone. According to the arrangement, Amanda was supposed to go to Antoine's house on the East Side. So Amanda gets someone to cover her shift, hops in Adam's car, and they drive over there. When they get to the house, Amanda gets out. Adam says he stayed in the car waiting now. Everything from this point on is Adam's version of events. So take it with a grain of salt. He claims he waited for about an hour, and then Amanda calls him. She says she is going to be longer than expected and he should go home. So that is what he does. He drives away, thinking Amanda will make her own way home later. But Amanda never came home. She never showed up the next day. She just vanished after walking into Antoine Garner's house. When Amanda went missing, her mom, Leslie, immediately started pushing for action. The first few hours and days in a missing person case are crucial. The trail gets colder by the minute. The 12th of December, 2008. A week after Amanda disappeared, maintenance workers find human remains in a drainage ditch in Cheektowaga, a suburb of Buffalo. The body is badly decomposed. Eventually, they identify it through dental records. It is Amanda. The autopsy becomes this huge point of controversy. The condition of the body makes determining the exact cause of death really difficult. The medical examiner's report is inconclusive on some key points, which creates major problems for prosecutors trying to build a case. Police focus on Antoine Garner immediately. Amanda went into his house and never came out. He denies everything at first, says Amanda left his house alive. But as the investigation continues, they find Amanda's DNA throughout Antoine's house. Of course, she had been there, so that is not necessarily proof of anything by itself. But despite all the suspicion, despite the circumstantial evidence, the case is frustratingly hard to prove. Without a definitive cause of death, prosecutors struggle with how to charge someone with murder. Years pass. Leslie fights tirelessly to keep attention on Amanda's case. She gives interviews, organizes vigils, becomes an advocate for all victims of violence. She refuses to let Amanda become just another statistic. Here is the really frustrating part. Antoine Garner eventually gets arrested and sentenced for other crimes. 18 years in prison for stuff unrelated to Amanda. But he is never charged with Amanda's death. Never. The case stays open, but there is no arrest, no prosecution. As of 2025, there haven't been any major updates suggesting charges are coming. The investigation is technically still open, but without new evidence, it is not looking good. Leslie Wisnewski deserves closure. She deserves to know exactly what happened to her daughter. She deserves justice. If anyone out there has information about what happened to Amanda after she walked into that house on the 5th of December, 2008, they need to come forward. Amanda was more than just an addict or a victim. She was a daughter who was loved. She was a young woman with dreams. She fought her demons even when it seemed hopeless, and she deserved better than ending up in a drainage ditch with her case unsolved. Part 3. The gym bag, all right. Now let's talk about one of the weirdest cases I've ever come across. London, August 2010. We were talking about a guy named Gareth Williams. Gareth was originally from Wales, and ever since he was a kid, he was brilliant. Like genius. Level brilliant. He graduated with a first-class degree when he was only 17 years old. Then he went to the University of Manchester and got into mathematics and code breaking. By 2001, he is working for GSUHQ in Cheltenham. That is Britain's version of the NSA. At the time of his death, Gareth was living in a flat in Pimlico, London. He'd been seconded from GSUHQ to work at My6 headquarters on some special assignment. Gareth was really good at his job. His background in math and code breaking made him invaluable. But Gareth was also super private. He kept his work classified, obviously, and he kept his personal life to himself, too. He wasn't in a relationship. He lived alone. He was kind of a solitary guy, which isn't that unusual for someone in intelligence work. Then one day in August 2010, Gareth just disappears. Completely off the grid. No one hears from him. His co-workers at My6 eventually notice he hasn't been to work for about a week, which is really strange for someone as reliable as Gareth. Now, I don't know why they waited a whole week to report this. Maybe they thought he was on some classified assignment. Maybe the culture of secrecy in intelligence work made them hesitant to raise alarms. But eventually, they do call the police. Police knock on Gareth's door. No answer. They get inside the apartment, and it is in this weird state. Like someone had been there, but now everything is abandoned. They researching for Gareth, checking each room. The bed is untouched. No sign of him in the living areas. Then they get to the bathroom, and there is this large North Face gym bag sitting there. It is padlocked shut from the outside. They open it up, and inside, curled up in the fetal position, completely naked, is Gareth Williams. He has been dead for about a week. The apartment unusually hot. The heat's been cranked up, which made the body decompose faster. The scene is bizarre in every way. How did Gareth end up in this bag? It is locked from the outside, which suggests someone else put him there, right? But there is no sign of forced entry. No broken windows, no jimmied locks. And there is no sign of a struggle in the apartment either. Everything is relatively undisturbed except for this crazy scene in the bathroom. Forensic experts come in to figure out what happened. They determined Gareth would only had a few minutes to live once he was sealed in the bag. He would suffocated quickly. The pathologist examines the body and finds no obvious signs of trauma. No stab wounds, no blunt force injuries. The cause of death seems to be suffocation, though some experts raise the possibility of poisoning, but they don't find any traces. So then the big question becomes, could someone lock themselves in this bag from the inside? Multiple experts try to reproduce it. They fail over and over. Even contortionists can do it. The conclusion seems obvious. Someone else had to have put Gareth in that bag and locked it from outside. Which means murder. But if he was murdered, who did it and why? Gareth worked in intelligence, so immediately people start wondering if this was connected to his work. Was he assassinated by a foreign intelligence service? The lack of forced entry suggests that if it was murder, Gareth might be known as killer. He might let them in willingly. Investigators start digging into Gareth's personal life. They find some surprising stuff. He visited bondage and S&M websites. He explored London. As gay seen occasionally, though. He never openly identified as gay. They found some women as clothing in his apartment. Wigs, dresses. These discoveries lead some investigators to theorize that maybe Gareth died during some kind of sexual experiment gone wrong. Maybe he was doing some bondage thing, either alone or with someone, and it accidentally killed him. The person with him panicked and ran. This theory would explain the lack of forced entry and the absence of defensive wounds. But this theory has problems. Big problems. 1. Multiple experts say it is basically impossible to lock yourself in that bag from the inside. 2. There is no evidence of sexual activity in the apartment. 3. People who knew Gareth say his personality doesn't fit someone who engage in dangerous solo sexual stuff. He was careful, methodical, risk-averse. The intelligence angle adds layers of secrecy that make everything harder to investigate. My6 and Gutchku don't want to talk about Gareth's work, which is understandable from a national security standpoint, but it fuels all this speculation. An inquest is held in 2012. The coroner concludes that Gareth was likely killed by person or persons unknown. She explicitly dismisses the sexual accident theory, saying the evidence strongly suggests third-party involvement. In her opinion, someone murdered Gareth Williams. But then in 2013, the Metropolitan Police issue their own report that contradicts the coroner. They argue Gareth's death was probably an accident, that he somehow managed to lock himself in the bag, maybe as part of claustrophilic experimentation, and accidentally suffocated. They admit it is unusual, but they say it is more plausible than murder. This conclusion is immediately controversial. Gareth's family rejects it completely. They believe he was murdered. The coroner disputes the police report. Independent experts continue insisting it is practically impossible to lock yourself in that bag the way it was found. To this day, the case remains officially unsolved. Was Gareth murdered by a foreign intelligence service? Was he killed during a personal encounter? Did he somehow accidentally kill himself in a way that multiple experts say is impossible? Every theory has problems. Every explanation leaves questions unanswered. For the people who knew Gareth, the mystery makes the loss even harder. He was brilliant, dedicated to his work. His family says he was private but also kind and thoughtful. He was robbed of dignity in his final moments. The gym bag in that Pimlico apartment became a symbol of one of the strangest deaths in British history. The image of an intelligence operative, someone trained to spot threats, ending up locked in a bag in his own bathroom. It defies comprehension. Years later, people still debate what really happened. New theories pop up on forums. Journalists occasionally revisit the case. But as time passes, the chances of discovering the truth get slimmer. The gym bag mystery might stay unsolved forever. Part 4. The bathroom stall. Let's head to Israel now. The 6th of December, 2006. It is just another ordinary school day at Nofi Ayalon High School in Ramat Hashron. Students are going to classes. Teachers are teaching. The usual teenage chaos in the hallways. But in one of the school's bathrooms, something absolutely horrific is happening. Tair Rada is a 13-year-old student at the school. She is in 8th grade. By all accounts, she is a bright, energetic kid who gets along well with her classmates. Just a normal, happy teenager. She goes to her classes that morning like always. Nothing seems off. Then at some point, she goes to a bathroom on the 2nd floor. She never comes out. When Tair doesn't show up for her next class, the teacher assumes she is just running late. Teenagers lose track of time, right? But as more time passes with no sign of her, people start to worry. They begin searching the school. Eventually, they check the bathroom where she was last seen. One of the stalls is locked from the inside. Someone tries to push it open, but it won't budge. A student helping with the search peeks under the door. She can see Tair's Puma sneakers, but there is also another pair of shoes, smaller ones that look like youth, sized all stars. And then she sees it, red liquid spreading across the floor. Blood. They force the door open. The scene inside is absolutely horrific. Tair is lying on the bathroom floor, unresponsive, cold. She has been brutally attacked. Her throat's been slashed with such force that she is nearly decapitated. Blood everywhere. This isn't just murder. This is savage violence against a child in what should be the safe environment of her school. Emergency services arrive, but Tair's already gone. The bathroom stall has become the site of one of the most horrifying crimes in Israeli history. A 13-year-old girl murdered during school hours, and somehow the killer did this without anyone hearing or seeing anything. The investigation starts immediately. Police seal off the school and begin questioning everyone. Students, teachers, staff, anyone who was there. The brutality of the crime suggests someone in an extreme state of rage or disturbed mental state. The location and timing suggest someone who either attended the school or had easy access to it. Investigators focus on students and staff who had opportunity. They look at Tair's relationships, checking for conflicts or issues, but the randomness and brutality suggest something beyond typical teenage drama. One key piece of evidence: bloody marks on Tair's jeans that appear to be a footprint. Investigators start examining everyone's shoes, looking for a match. As days pass without a breakthrough, public pressure becomes intense. Parents across Israel are terrified. The pressure on police to solve this quickly is enormous. Eventually, attention falls on a man named Roman Zadorov. Roman's a Ukrainian immigrant who works as a handyman and flooring installer. On the 6th of December, the day of the murder, Roman was at the school installing floors, so he was on campus at the time of the killing. Police bring Roman in for questioning. Here is where things start to fall apart. Roman speaks very limited Hebrew. Despite this massive language barrier, through interpreters and hours of interrogation, Roman eventually gives what police call a confession. He provides details about encountering Tair, attacking her in the bathroom, killing her with a knife. Based on this confession and what police claim is a match between Roman's salamander shoes and the footprint on Tair's jeans, they arrest him and charge him with murder. Case closed, right? The nation breathes a sigh of relief. But as the case moves toward trial, serious problems emerge. Roman's defense attorneys argue his confession was coerced. He barely understood the language. He had no lawyer present. He was confused, exhausted, desperate to make the interrogation stop. They point out inconsistencies. His confession doesn't match the physical evidence, the shoe print evidence. Defense experts examine it and say these marks can definitively be matched to Roman's shoes. In fact, they might not even be shoe prints at all. DNA evidence? Hair found at the scene doesn't match Roman's DNA. And remember that student who peeked under the stall? She testifies she saw youth, sized all, star shoes in there with Tair. Roman wore salamanders, not all stars. The defense brings in Dr. Guy Cooper, a British shoe imprint expert. He says the marks on Tair's jeans can be considered reliable shoe prints, and definitely can be linked to Roman shoes. An FBI shoe expert, William Bodziak, reaches the same conclusion, but the court dismisses both expert testimonies. The case against Roman rests almost entirely on his contested confession. A confession his lawyers convincingly argue is false and coerced. Despite the glaring evidentiary problems, Roman is convicted in September 2010 and sentenced to life in prison. His attorneys immediately start appealing, arguing the conviction is based on flawed evidence and a false confession. The appeals drag on for years. Courts keep denying requests for a new trial. But something remarkable happens. Tair's mom, Tair Rada, starts publicly expressing doubts about Roman's guilt. The victim's own mother is saying she doesn't believe the convicted killer did it. She thinks the investigation was rushed. The police focused on Roman, a foreign worker with limited language skills, as a convenient target. She believes the real killer might be someone from the school who was never properly investigated. Almost 10 years after his conviction, Roman finally gets a breakthrough. The Supreme Court orders a retrial, acknowledging serious problems with the original prosecution. In March 2023, more than 16 years after Tair's murder, Roman Zadorov is acquitted. After spending about 13 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, he walks free. His lawyers successfully proved he was coerced into a false confession. They showed how police, under enormous public pressure, focused on a convenient suspect without properly checking if the evidence actually supported their theory. Roman's free, but this also means something terrible. Tair Rada's murder is unsolved. The real killer was never caught, never identified, never faced justice. Tair's parents are left in an agonizing position. They believed for over a decade that their daughter's killer was in prison. Now they learn the wrong man was imprisoned, and their daughter's actual murderer is still out there. The case exposes serious flaws in the justice system. It raises questions about confessions from people who don't understand the language, about pressure to solve cases quickly, about tunnel vision in investigations. Roman lost 13 years of his life. Tair never got justice. Her real killer walks free today. What really happened to Tair Rada on the 6th of December 2006? Who entered that bathroom stall with her? Who wielded the knife? Who committed such brutal violence against a child and walked away unidentified? These questions remain unanswered. Sadly, we may never know the truth. So there you have it. 4 cases that left everyone baffled. Jennifer Cave's murder was solved. Colton's in prison. But we still don't know why he did it. What drove him to kill his friend. Amanda Wisnewski's death has never resulted in justice. Everyone knows where she was last seen, but no one's been charged. Gareth Williams' death remains unsolved. Was it murder? Accident? Something else entirely? Experts still can't agree. Tair Rada's murder resulted in a wrongful conviction. Roman lost 13 years, and Tair's real killer is still out there. These are the cases that haunt investigators, the ones where evidence points everywhere and nowhere, where the truth is stranger and more elusive than any fiction. The bathtub in Austin, the drainage ditch in Buffalo, the gym bag in London, the bathroom stall in Israel. 4 places where death arrived in ways that defied comprehension. This has been PC Podcast. Thank you for listening.